Explore Hadrian's Wall with us as we walk coast to coast in 8 days. The first day of our journey takes us from Wallsend to Newburn. We started the day by taking the subway from the hotel to Wallsend, near Newcastle. There's a Roman fort here and a museum with a lovely staff who are very entertaining. We took a few minutes in the museum, which was clearly designed for kids, but still had a lot of fun. It told the history of both the Roman fort and the shipbuilding in the area. There's a tower that looks over the remains of the Roman fort called Sagadunum. If you're walking Hadrian's Wall, you can get a passport that's stamped along the way. The museum staff were happy to give us our first stamp and start our journey. From there, we went down to the fort and took a moment to look at the old shipyard where some famous boats like the Mauretania and the Carpathia, which rescued the survivors of Titanic, were both built. The Roman fort of Sagadunum was built as the eastern end of Hadrian's Wall. These are its ruins, which are well preserved, but you can see that there's a road that runs right through the barracks section. We spent some time walking around and checking out the history because we knew that this would be the only Roman ruins we were going to see for a while. Much of the ruins along the eastern side of the wall have been stripped away for their stone. At first, I thought this was kind of odd, but then I remembered that the Romans were the oppressors in the region for over 300 years. It makes sense that once they left, the local people would really not want to keep a monument to their oppressor, and probably saw all that stone along the wall as a convenient source of masonry. We finished up with the fort pretty quickly, and had one last stop down this hill to look at the remains of a Roman bathhouse right along the river. From there, we were on the trail. Most of our day would be spent walking on local bike and hiking paths. This part takes us along the river, from Wallsend heading west into Newcastle upon Tyne. The paths are well maintained and clearly marked, and throughout these videos you'll see a little acorn icon, which is the marker for the Hadrian's Wall path. A lot of people were just out with their dogs or enjoying the nice weather. For me, noticing that the paths were lined with raspberry and blackberry bushes was really exciting. Sadly, we were too early and they weren't ripe. The lovely woman walking with me is my wife, Nicole, and she'll turn up a lot in these videos. The trip was actually her idea. We're both history nerds who love to spend time looking at weird plaques and strange ditches in the woods. Over the years, we've done a number of these historical trips. I find this time-lapse footage a little meditative, so from time to time I'll leave some quiet stretches and let you just enjoy the walk. My goal with these videos is to share our experience with you. I probably can't shed any new light on the history of Hadrian's Wall, but for me it was an exciting trip and a rare opportunity to hike across England. I thought those of you that might never make the trip would enjoy taking the walk with us. For those of you who are planning your own trip, perhaps we can offer some advice about best strategies or places to stop or things to do along the way. Like this pub in Newcastle. We were hoping for lunch, but sadly their kitchen was closed. After a quick pint, we were back on the road, now fully on the River Tyne in downtown Newcastle. We still needed food since the kitchen at that pub had been closed, and a stop at a local market got us some sandwiches and some calories to re-energize. As we were setting out up the river into Newburn for the second half of our day, We took a moment to enjoy the city center, to look around at all the cool bridges and the beautiful old town. I know a lot of people hike Hadrian's Wall, and I'm not sure how many take the time to wander around Newcastle. I wish we'd had more time to see it because it seemed like a fun city. But the trail called, and soon enough we were headed up the river towards Newburn. The Hadrian's Wall path generally follows where the wall was built, but in this stretch the wall was robbed away and it runs through the city, so the path takes you along the river. I think it's the only part of the journey where we aren't really on the wall itself, but it didn't matter because there wouldn't be anything to see in this stretch anyway. Once we got to the edge of the city, we found ourselves in an industrial area with lots of plaques about the history of the shipbuilding in the region. It started raining on us, but I know better than to complain about rain in England. Today it actually came down pretty hard, and I wasn't as prepared as I might have been. My rain gear wasn't as waterproof as I wanted it to be, so this next stretch got a little miserable. It also got all over my camera, which I apologize for. Nicole and I have been together a long time, and if you want to test the strength of a relationship, try getting lost in the pouring rain in a foreign country. In our case, even though we were miserable, we told jokes and kept each other happy and motivated. We were determined to make this walk from coast to coast on foot, but at any moment we could have called a taxi and it would have only been a short drive to get where we were going. These distances aren't that great. And yet, we powered through, and soon enough the rain was over. In a few moments you'll see that the sun comes out and we start to dry off. With squishy shoes and a wet shirt, who cares? We made our way out of the Newcastle suburbs and into the woods again for a final stretch of this path. Even though the water's still on my camera, you can tell that the rain has stopped because everybody's out walking their dog. And as wet as we might be, and as grumpy and tired and miserable as we might have felt at the moment, there's always things that keep you motivated, like these raspberry bushes. I love free, healthy snacks provided by nature, so sometimes you just gotta stop and enjoy what's given to you. The end is in sight now, and with the sun out, we're feeling pretty happy, having accomplished our first day on Hadrian's Wall. Other than the rain, it was a great walk and a really nice day. We made the final push through this beautiful riverside park, grabbed a few more berries, and found ourselves at our lodging for the night, a place called Keelman's Lodge, which is also a pub and a brewery that gave us a wonderful opportunity to dry off and recover. We had some dinner at Keelman's, met a sweet dog that kept stealing my beer, and had some delicious food. Check back soon for our second day on Hadrian's Wall as we walk from Newburn to Wallhouses.